Bien, bonjour tout le monde. On va démarrer pour ne pas prendre de retard et notamment pas accumuler trop de retard pour les intervenants d'après. Donc on va
So
vous
we're going to go
parler
ahead and get started.
d'agriculture biologique
We're talking about
et démarche sans gluten.
organic
Donc, je suis Stéphane
farming
Mélif, je suis
and
responsable du développement chez Bureau
gluten-free
Veritas,
procedures.
département
I'm
agro
Stéphane at
industrie
Bureau
de France.
Veritas,
Et Martine Kathleen,
and this is
chargée
Martine
d'affaires
Kathleen.
agriculture biologique,
In
qui va vous parler
she's
de
a
comment
project
on s'engage en
manager
bio,
in
c'est quoi
organic
les règles à
food
respecter, et
production.
puis
So we're going to talk about the
les modalités
rules
d'audit sans gluten. Très
and
rapidement, vous présenter
a
Bureau
gluten-free
Veritas.
audit.
Alors, Bureau
So
Veritas, c'est une
who
grosse
is
boutique,
Bureau Veritas?
4,6 milliards de chiffre
4.6
d'affaires,
billion
près de
in
70 000 salariés dans le
revenues,
monde,
nearly
400 000
70,000
clients,
employees,
et
400,000
donc de nombreux
customers,
laboratoires.
and many
Nous, on fait partie
laboratories,
de la branche certification
part of
de
the
Bureau Veritas.
certification
Vous voyez avec
branch.
un tout petit maillon
They can see
de
it's a
Bureau Veritas
bit
qui
of a
représente
link in the
8%
chain, 8%
des marchés de Bureau Veritas dans le monde.
of the certification market for us across the world.
Alors voilà quelques-uns de
Okay, now here are
quelques démarches qu'on est capable
some of the procedures we're
pour lesquelles
involved
on
in,
accompagne nos clients. Donc vous voyez de la fourche à la
where we
fourchette.
support our customers from the
J'ai encadré en bleu là, les démarches sans gluten et agriculture biologique.
an
Vous voyez
organic
qu'on est
food
sur
from the rake
foule
to the fork to the
cahiers
table,
des
from the
charges
farm to
et
the
de
table.
démarches à la fois de produits et également de systèmes de management d'entreprise.
So management systems as well, and you can see some of our
Comme
recent
le logo
initiatives, the hygiene logo there for restaurants.
voilà, tout un tas
France
de
Guarantee, you see
démarches.
all of our labels, all of our
Quelques-uns de nos
certifications.
clients.
Some of our customers here,
Aujourd'hui, on travaille avec vraiment des milliers de clients de
we have
l'agriculture
thousands
à la
and
multinationale.
from
Un petit
farmers
dernier qui
to
voilà, qui nous a
multinational
fait des
companies,
photos de leur
Carrefour,
démarche. Et
Nestle,
puis,
BioCoop,
petit
you
réseau
can
qui
see
s'appelle
here,
La Côte et l'Arête restaurant
and
dans
a
le
little
sud-ouest.
network called La Côte et l'Arête. That's
Voilà.
a restaurant
Quelques
chain in the
innovations,
southwest of France.
tout à l'heure, on nous a parlé de démarches
Okay, so
innovantes de
earlier we
digitalisation.
heard
Bah,
about
vous voyez qu'on est aujourd'hui
innovative
sur
procedures,
des démarches
digitalization. You
de
can see that
blockchain,
we're looking at blockchain
dématérialisation,
procedures,
d'autocontrôle dans le milieu de
dematerialization,
la production,
self-auditing,
maîtrise de la
self-monitoring,
supply chain. Et puis,
mastering, controlling the
vous voyez, en
supply
Afrique, par
chain.
exemple, on
You
mandate des
see,
drones
in
pour aller faire des
Africa,
contrôles
we have
au champ.
drones that
Donc,
go out
des choses très, très
and
innovantes. Voilà,
inspect
je laisse
the
la parole à
fields.
Martine Kathleen
So I'm going to hand over to
sur
Martine.
la certification bio, puis
I'll hand
le
over to
sans
my
gluten.
colleague for gluten-free approaches. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you for so many of you being. So you have a gluten-free and you have satisfaction survey. So please do fill that out and leave me your contact details if you want me to get back in touch with you. So have a look at that. Now, as regards organic certification, these are the main aspects. The market, many of you already know the organic market, but this is just to situate you in the context. So 2017, for the first time ever, the market represents 8 billion euros, which is anything but negligible. If you look at the brochure here for the trade fair, I looked at the organic section, which is in pink, and there are almost more organic stands than non-organic stands. So it's no longer considered a niche. Now, operators in France, quite substantial. Producers, over 36,000. And as regards processors and retailers, that's on the upswing as well, between 15 and 18%. So France is well situated in the European market. Surface-wise, we're third, and markets were second in organic foods in Europe. So quite substantial there. Now, for you people here, you're probably either processors or retailers or distributors of organic products. You can see since 2005, there's been a huge increase, and in 2017, a new spike. We saw that in 2011, as you can see, and now this past year, same development, over 17,000 operators in the organic sector, so plus 16% compared to the year before. If we look at the rest of Europe, what's important to see is that the market is over 32 billion. That's at 2016, in fact, the figures there. And if you look at the value, 70% of the purchasing is done in 4 different countries: Germany, France, second place, right behind us, Italy, and then the UK. After a touchy phase, as it were, consumption is back up, as you can see on the graph. So no more reduction, no more decrease there for the UK. Now, so organic in Veritas, many companies work with us. Over 15,000 companies certified by us. So we are identified by the Bio 10. We're part of that procedure. 8,500 farms and 6,700 preparers and processors. Those will be bakeries, not just industrial producers. Now, who's concerned here? I say everyone, from the farm to the table. That's the expression used in France. Well, they call it from the pitchfork to the fork. So many stores, they can be retail stores. They don't have inspections, only those that carry organic products that are not packaged, that are not sealed. So bulk as well, as long as their purchase is under 10,000 euros. So that's quite limited. So you quickly exceed the 10,000 euros. And now, if you're looking at farmers, say if you just sell seeding to farmers. So the entire population then is pretty much concerned by certification. Farmers, wholesalers, and importers, organic stores, preparers. As regards legislation, I'm not going to bore you with all these subtleties in legislation. There's just one single one for Europe, and this applies to all European countries. So there are 2 main texts: the framework legislation, that's 834/2007, and then the organic, which is 889/2008. And if you're interested, please look at these in detail on our website. Now, those involved in importing, the major implication from 2017 legislation regards modalities, and there's a new section there called Trace and T. So please do consult that if you're interested. Okay, what products are certifiable in organic? A small sampling. Farm products, of course. Wheat, lentils, honey, processed, transformed products that are 95%. That 5% means limited. It's a very small list on the listed in the legislation I just mentioned. So this is flour, biscuits, jams, food supplements in gel caps and so on. The market, we have some products that have some organic products. They allow that, but you have to limit that. No logos, no European logos, no stamping of those. So very few of those actually on the market. What we find very rarely, though, but it's still there, these would be vegetable or fruit and produce products, such as apple juice, with a limited list of additives and other products. But this makes it a bit more high value, and it promotes it more so for the producers. Now, audit points, no details here, but just so you know that each operator is concerned at least once. And they have a matrix, and they cover the whole process. They look at all the processes for the producers systematically. So this is just an excerpt. This is not the matrix we use. You look at product origins, traceability, raw materials, recipes. Everything is looked at. We look specifically at the mix between organic and non-organic products, and then communication, information on the products, be it handouts, data sheets on the products in the stores.
Là, je vous rappelle dans les grandes lignes quelle est la démarche pour être certifié
Now,
bio.
these are the main
Ceux qui
ideas
ne le
for
sauraient pas
getting
ou qui ne sauraient pas
organic
encore.
certification. So if you're not
Il y a
certified
l'étape
yet,
administrative qui s'appelle la
there's an
notification.
administrative step, which is the notification or application on the website, the bio agency or organic agency. Then you get contacted
Une attestation d'engagement.
to have your certificate of engagement, meaning that you're undergoing the attempt for certification. Make an appointment, have a first visit, and if everything is compliant, you get the certificate, which is valid for 1 year. And the inspections, random inspections, then vary on how free the inspectors are. So I'm going really fast through here. Please feel free to write to me through the handout that you have in your packet. Otherwise, you have my email address if you've had time to take that down, but you can get in touch with me. If you need organic certification, here's the method. We have a platform that allows you to fill out an online questionnaire, or you can use the phone number there that you see.
En termes d'outils de communication, donc
communication tools, we have our website that gives you all the breaking news and events. All the legislation is up to date on our website. Everything on the website is totally up to date. Consolidated legislation. We also have a certification space there for our customers. We can go quickly over the documents that you need for certification, and every 2-3 months we do send out an internet newsletter to give you information about anything that's changed in terms of legislation.
En termes d'auditeurs, actuellement, on a à peu près une
centaine de auditors. We have about 100 qualified in organic inspections across France, so all the departments are covered.
De certification, donc
and now, as regards to certification, we have 4 venues, 4 sites for label verification, planning, scheduling, everything that's everything that excludes inspections. So I'm going really fast, but I'm quickly now onto the second section of my presentation, which is the AOECS standard.
Ça nous permet de la norme AOCS, en fait, c'est le cahier des charges.
This standard enables us to conduct our inspections. So, as regards gluten, I didn't know this, but it is part of the cereal grains, along with almonds. So you have a 12% gluten, and that's the gluten that can cause a problem. And the molecules are gliadines and glutalines. What does gluten do to people who are intolerant or have the celiac disease, have celiac diseases? Well, it's very disabling. It causes the destruction of the large intestine. I'll have a photo to show you, and you'll see that it's quite flagrant there. So what it does is it destroys the mucous membranes of the intestines. So it's an autoimmune disease. Medically, you can have a blood test, biopsy, the diagnosis. Once they have the diagnosis, of course, it's a celiac disease. So there's some people who are gluten intolerant, and they haven't taken the test or anything. They don't have it actually proven, but they in fact have the same symptoms. So they're just intolerant. They're not allergic, but they do react to the same agents, and they develop the same symptoms as the celiac disease carriers. So just if you can remember which cereals, which grains do have gluten, there's a way to remember it, a memo technique. You can say that basically cereals, which would be sabos, rye, wheat, barley, rye, wheat, barley,
it's spelt.
You can see the SABO and spelt. So as regards to celiac disease, it's
Il y a encore beaucoup de choses qui
It's
sont à découvrir
hereditary. A
en termes
lot
médicales,
still
en
needs to be
particulier les
understood
facteurs
about it
déclenchants qui
yet,
peuvent être des
as
virus,
to
des
including
candidats,
what
des
covers
stress,
it,
des
what
stress.
triggers it. It can be viruses, it can be
Il y a-
candida, it can
tout
be
n'est
stress.
pas,
And
comment dire, la
we don't
recherche médicale a encore
understand
des
everything yet
choses
about
à
it,
trouver
so
sur
there's a lot of
l'origine
medical
de la
research
maladie.
that still needs to be
Et donc, c'est la
conducted.
photo dont je vous parlais tout de suite.
So this is a
illustre bien à
photo
gauche un
here that
intestin
illustrates, you
grêle
can see on the
normal, une
left a
personne,
normal large intestine,
qu'il n'y a pas de problème particulier. Et
so
à
no
droite,
particular problems. And on the
coupe de
right,
l'intestin
you can
grêle
see
de
the
quelqu'un qui a la
cross-section
maladie
of
cœliaque.
someone who has the
On se rend
celiac
compte qu'en fait, les
disease.
villosités ont
You realize then
complètement
that the
disparu.
velocity, the villi, have
Et sans
completely
rentrer dans le détail, c'est
disappeared.
pourquoi il n'y a plus
And you can see
d'absorption
that's why
de
there's no
nutriments, puisqu'il
absorption
n'y a plus
of the
de
nutriments,
surface
of the
de
nutrients,
contact, entre
because
les
the
nutriments
surface, there's
et
no
puis
surface,
le
there's no
reste de
contact
l'organisme.
surface.
Alors pour les consommateurs, donc ce que je viens de dire,
Now,
je
consumers
redis,
in
et
all of
on a-
this,
donc on a les vrais intolérants,
you have
on a les
intolerance,
hypersensibles au gluten,
you
qui
have
vient de
hypersensitive,
bloquer,
gluten
et on a la troisième
hypersensitive
catégorie,
sensitive
c'est
people.
aussi
And the
les
third
consommateurs qui
category
cherchent bien-être, en
are
fait.
people who are just
Donc là, il y
striving
a
for
beaucoup l'effet de
well-being.
mode par
So there's a
certaines
bit of a
personnes
trendy
célèbres
effect
qui,
there because you have
qui
some
estiment que c'est,
celebs
cela leur donne du
who
bien-être
consider
de ne
that
pas
that
manger
gives
de
them
gluten.
greater
Et ça a
well-being,
aussi
that improves their
augmenté la
well-being to not
consommation
eat
des
gluten,
produits
and so it's
sans gluten chez les
increased
consommateurs qui ne sont
gluten-free
pas malades.
products amongst people who are not necessarily ill.
Juste pour information, en termes de prévalence, donc de nombre
As
de
regards to
personnes de la
prevalence,
population
the number of
concernée,
people
comptée, parce que tout le monde n'est pas diagnostiqué, on
diagnosed,
estime actuellement
in fact, is
entre
estimated
1
at 1 to 1.4%,
le pourcentage de la population qui est
the
concernée par
percentage of the
la maladie
population
et
dealing,
diagnostiquée.
being actually diagnosed with gluten
Alors, je vais faire un focus là, sur la
allergies.
norme
So let me
européenne. Donc, en
look
fait, en
quickly here at
Europe,
the
on a
European
le même cahier des
standards.
charges pour
We
tous
have
les
the same
produits qui vont communiquer
specifications
sur
for
gluten avec le
products
logo
who are
équivalent.
communicating on being gluten-free with the logo being marked out.
Ah, bah voilà, il y en avait un derrière. Pardon. Donc, cette norme, actuellement, on utilise la version
So
de
the
septembre 2016.
standard now uses a September
Et, l'AOCS,
2016
c'est
stand,
l'Association of European
and that's the
Celiac Society.
Association of European Celiac
En
Societies.
termes de normes, dans son contenu, vous pourrez aller voir
So in terms
le
of the
détail.
content in the
Et c'est un
standard,
standard
you
qui est
can
très
check that
orienté
out.
sur l'HACCP
It's
gluten.
based on
En fait, c'est un risque parmi
HACCP,
d'autres. On a la même
the gluten
logique
HACCP. So it's
de
one risk amongst
quantification,
others. So we have to
d'estimer
have it
quels sont les risques
quantified and
dans
estimate the
l'entreprise
actual
pour un
risks.
risque autre. Là, c'est le risque gluten.
So this would be for the
Ça
gluten
nous permet
risk.
donc cette norme de
This
faire des
enables
audits
us
chez les
to
fabricants qui
conduct
fabriquent ces produits. Et ce qui est
inspections
obligatoire
and
en France depuis
audits.
2016, c'est
And what we
d'avoir
have since
un audit par an
2016
de
is
chaque
one, we've agreed to
fabricant
one
de produits sans gluten
audit
sur
per
sa base.
annum for
En termes de
gluten-free
communication, maintenant,
producers.
pour les
Now
produits, vous retrouvez ce
communication,
logo.
you see the
Le logo
logos here,
séparé. Et dessous, vous avez l'enregistrement
and you have
de manière
here
unitaire en
you
fait,
have
du
the
produit
unit
FR,
recording of each
parce que le
product,
fabricant est en
FR
France.
because that would be
Les trois
French,
chiffres
in
suivants
France, sorry,
identifient
and then the
l'entreprise,
three
le
figures there,
licencié.
the YYY
Et
there,
les
it
trois chiffres suivants
identifies
identifient de
the
manière unitaire
producer,
produit.
and then the ZZZ, the other
Donc, pour pouvoir
letters
utiliser le
there
logo
indicate the
équivalé,
actual
il faut avoir assigné un contrat de licence
product.
avec l'ABDIAG
So you have to have
en
the
France.
license there with the
Il faut s'engager à
FDAG
respecter le seuil de
agency in
gluten
France. You
qui
have
est
to
inférieur à
respect
20
the
milligrammes par kilo dans chacun des
maximum
produits.
of gluten, which is 20
Donc, au moins
milligrams
une
per
analyse
kilo
pour les
in
filles
each
par an,
product. So you have that
à réaliser.
one analysis per annum.
Cette analyse, en fait, c'est pas n'importe laquelle, c'est selon une
And this
méthode
is
qui
based
est
on
imposée
a
et
method
qui est accréditée par le COFRAC
accredited
pour ce
by
type de
COFRAC
produit.
for
Donc,
this
on l'appelle le
type of
test
product, and
ELISA
this is
R5
called the
Mendes pour ceux qui
ELISA
connaissent.
R5 Mendes
Et puis,
test, for
comme
those
ce que
of
je
you
viens de
who
dire,
are familiar with it. And as
systématiquement,
I
au
said,
moins un audit
at least
de
once
chaque
every
fabricant
year,
chaque année
each
pour
producer
vérifier
has to
la
be
conformité.
audited to ensure compliance.
Donc, à l'issue de cet audit annuel, si tout est conforme,
Now,
l'entreprise
following
reçoit
the
une
annual
attestation
audit,
qui
if
prouve
everything
que
is
tous les
compliant, then they
points de
get
la
the
norme ont été respectés.
certification
Et
saying
les
that they
auditeurs
have
de
complied
Buritas
with
qui
all
réalisent ces
standards.
audits ont été
And the
spécifiquement formés
Buritas
et en
auditors are
agroalimentaire et
specifically
sur cette
trained
norme.
for this in agri-food and on this
Je vous ai mis un extrait
particular
de la grille sans la détailler, c'est pour vous
standard.
dire que
So
tout est
here's
passé en revue de manière systématique. Là,
an
c'est
example
l'extrait
of
qui
our
concerne les
matrix
emballages, par
showing you
exemple,
everything
et
is
les
covered
analyses.
from packaging to analyses.
Donc, ce que je vous ai dit, un des points principaux, c'est l'HACCP, pardon, gluten.
So one of the main points
Et
is
ça,
is gluten
s'applique vraiment, au
HACCP,
de risque de
and that
tout
really
début,
applies
de
to
la
the
R&D, l'élaboration des
beginning
recettes, la
risks. That's
préparation,
everything from
et puis,
R&D,
jusqu'à la-
recipes,
au conditionnement des
preparation,
produits pour éviter
packaging,
qu'il y ait de contamination entre
and everything to ensure that there is no
un produit qui
contamination,
contient du
say
gluten sur le même
a
site
product that
et le produit
other
sans gluten.
gluten-containing products on the same site. So this goes all the way through to
Il y a des
packaging.
choses essentielles à regarder, y compris
Essential
même
points
la
need to be looked
nettoyabilité
at,
des matériaux, pour éviter
the materials and their cleaning to avoid
et puis
contamination.
systématiquement, Sur la base de l'analyse de risque, l'entreprise est amenée à réaliser des tests en interne pour vérifier.
Companies must conduct in-house tests to make sure that they've been compliant with the protocols, and they have to conduct tests and analyses to make sure that they are risk-free. And here again, here's the number, so you can contact the person you need to regarding the gluten procedures. Sorry, it was a bit quick there because I didn't want to make the next presenters late. Any questions on either of the topics, organic, gluten, or anything else for that matter? The Bureau Veritas audits or inspections, generally speaking?
C'était super clair en fait.
Oh, so it was so clear then, no questions, right? Everybody got everything. Or maybe you didn't understand anything. Yeah, question there. We need a microphone?
Bonjour, est-ce que vous pouvez rappeler la
Hi.
différence majeure entre le logo EcoCert?
Could you explain the difference between the EcoCert label and the bio label, organic label?
Donc, pour communiquer sur un produit biologique,
Right, now to communicate on an organic product, the regulatory requirements are that you would have this logo. Hold on, she's scrolling back in the slides to get it.
Elle est en haut. Ouais.
Mais là, à la limite. Donc ici, on voit.
Okay, here it is.
C'est ça.
It's this one.
Donc ça c'est vraiment le logo réglementaire.
That's the
sur tous les
regulatory
Ensuite,
logo for
c'est d'être certifié
organic
par un
food.
organisme certificateur qui a un
You can
agrément.
also be certified, but you have to be certified by
Par exemple, en France.
accrediting companies that can do that, and those are accredited by the Ministry of Health here in France, and there are 8 of those in France. They have a number, and the number that they use is FR Bio 10. Our number is FR Bio 10, and other inspectors have different numbers. So that would be the identification of the certifying organization for organic certification. Now, EcoCert is a brand of certification, just like Bureau Veritas, like us. It's a different brand. It's a different company of certification. They're private. You see that a lot on cosmetics. They're a brand of an organization that conducts certifications. Now, cosmetics, we didn't talk much about that. But they have a European standard called the Cosmos standard, and that's completely different from the organic certification. It's private, and they can be audited by Bureau Veritas or EcoCert. EcoCert is the leading organic certifier in France. We're the second. So there's also a brand called Qualité France, and that's a brand of certification as well. No, I don't think we can dwell on this because time is flying. But we did manage to make up for the delay. You have packets there. Please leave us your email address and your contact details, your questions, and we will send you the presentation. And if you want to contact, we can send you a contact on gluten-free or organic. Thank you.